So I want to start all the way from the beginning. So you originally were born and raised in Beverly Hills, like originally?
Oh man, I like my story is kind of crazy. Like I've been everywhere. So like it's like this. I was born in Philadelphia, right? But like I didn't have like a basic upbringing. Like there was a point this like most of my childhood, pretty much all of my childhood, I never stayed in one place for more than a year or two, right? And out of all of those places, I did stay in Beverly Hills at one point. You know, there was a time when things was up, and I was staying in Beverly Hills, Hollywood, in like big giant mansions and living a pretty pretty good life at one point. You know, like as far as like finances at a young age. You know, so
Okay.
like that's where that happened.
All right. All right. So where give me up until you were, I guess, 10. Give me all the places you lived up until you're like 10.
Up until I was 10.
Yeah.
Oh God. All right.
Is that many?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I have bad memory too. Like,
Okay. All right. That's
oh,
fine. That's
like
fine.
Philadelphia, Salt Lake City, um, like in little places like that, like Louisiana. I was there for a little bit. It was a bunch of places. You know, all types of places. Los Angeles, and then boom, 10 years old.
Wow. Okay. And an interesting story. The interesting part about your life story is, so your father was a cartel member, correct? Or
Um, he was dabbling now.
all right, all right. He was in that business. How
He
is
was
that a
in-
better way of putting it? Is that a better way?
yeah, he was in that business and
And
on to bigger and better things.
okay, and at one point was on the FBI's most wanted list, correct?
Yes,
All right, and you guys had to leave California and move to Mexico to
yeah.
avoid legal trouble. How was that transition in Mexico? How was you're an American kid, you lived all over the America, but now you're moving to Mexico where not many people look like you and also not many people speak your language. How was that transition, both language and cultural wise?
I mean, honestly, not too many people look like me in general. Like it's just, you know what I mean? Like I never really had like an identity. I never really like set roots anywhere. And it's not like I was like that loved anywhere. Like you kind of saying like it's like you're too black for white people. You're too white for black people. And like you don't speak enough Spanish for Spanish people. So it's like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, you know what I mean?
So what's your nationality?
Like I don't even have one anymore. I'm
No,
fucking finished. Like,
you got you're mixed with a bunch of things.
yeah, like I'm Blair to Flair.
All right. All right. Well, tell me, so how was living in Mexico and learning the language and adjusting to the food and culture?
It was interesting, it's just what ends up happening, right? Because I already was going through like my identity problem crisis. You know, people think they have an identity crisis until they run into somebody that actually have a problem. Like, you know what I mean? So when I was going through that whole situation, like that's when like a lot of like that's when my brokenness like went full fledged because then it's like not only like I don't really have an identity like but now I don't even exist. Like, I don't even exist. Technically, I don't exist. Like if I was to die right then and there, nobody would know that I even existed. My mother passed away, everybody's dead. That's like not exactly where I'm at. And there's been plenty of times where like if we were in a hostile situation, I mean, there's guns, there's a lot of violence, there's a lot of dangerous people that we're dealing with, and I could die. I could die, and everybody else could die that's there with me, which is just the two people that I have, which is my father and my sister. If we pass away, I never existed. So then it was like, you know what? What's the most reckless shit I can get into? Well, I always wanted to try boxing. Let's just go to the boxing gym because I really don't give a fuck about my life at this point. You know what I mean? And then it just worked out. Boxing became like my salvation in that sense. Even though it really was like a type of source of committing suicide, honestly. But
That,
that's what happened.